Here is the voice of the working class, Rick Smith.
And welcome, brothers, sisters, working class heroes. This is the Rick Smith Show. Thanks so much for being here. Today on the big program, lots to get to, lots to talk about, more Supreme Court fun, more fun from the six in the dresses. It's kind of like deja vu all over. I'm starting to feel like a kid again. Starting to think like a kid again. I'm going to have to start checking the nightly news to see how bad the smog index is going to be, worried about how bad the environment's going to be, going to start worrying about asthma and choking and all that stuff, evidently, because our Supreme Court came down on the side of the polluters and, well, sorry, folks, we're not going to be able to regulate and do anything to address climate change. The geniuses on our court have decided, no. The smart people that you put in charge of the EPA, the people who spend their careers focusing on that stuff, no, they're not the ones who should be regulating. No, let corporate America decide. They know. And I spent time today going, I grew up in the home of the Clean Water and the Clean Air Act. I grew up in Cleveland. A lot of people like to remind me, yes, isn't that where the Cuyahoga River caught on fire? Yeah, I was just born when that happened the last time. That was 55 years ago that happened. Yeah, stop bringing it up. And I've always pushed back on that. I've always that was 55 years ago. Get over it. I'm now going, you know what? Maybe I was wrong all those years pushing back. Maybe I should have said yes, it is where that happened X amount of years ago. And if you continue to vote for people who side with corporate America and side with the polluters, it's going to happen again. Who would have known? Who would have known that, maybe in my lifetime, the Cuyahoga River could catch on fire again? Other than the fact that, we don't manufacture anything anymore. So I guess there's that to be okay with. I guess there is that. Now, what the court decide? Well, they decided that the Obama era plan that never went into place, that was stopped and that was never going to go into place, can never go into place, and even further, can never, ever go into place. And the headline that grabbed my attention is Biden agenda thwarted. Going, but this wasn't Biden's agenda. This was Obama's era, clean power plan that never got off the ground. And Biden actually said, we're not moving forward on. And the win for conservatives where you say, see, we stuck it to Obama. Because you libtards are going to cry over this, and you go, no, you're just harming the environment. Look, I don't think climate change cares who you voted for in the last election. I don't think the wildfires that we're seeing really care much who's home. I don't think the fires when they roar through an area go, hey, did you vote the right way in the last election? I don't think they do that. I think they just and over goes your house. I could be wrong. There may be somebody up in the sky checking, tallies and checking voter registrations. But I gotta think the wildfires, the extreme weather, not really caring who you voted for. Maybe it should though, because all that stuff's going to get worse. At least that's what the smart people are saying. The smart people who we are now locking in the closet, because no, we can no longer regulate. And the bigger picture in this is, and this is where working people should really be concerned. You go, well, it's just the EPA being restrained. They're out of control with their clean water and their clean air. It goes even further, I think, than this. It goes to the ability of we, the people, to regulate the moneyed interest. And this is where my focus has been for a very long time. These fights have always been put in terms of pitting the right versus the left, Democrats versus Republicans. Red states, blue states, red states, blue states. Buy the hat, don't buy the hat. This kind of this back and forth. When the reality really is it's top down. It's those of us on the bottom, those of us who have to grow up, as I did, in a poor community next to an airport where the planes were dumping on us and the factories were spewing and the air quality was horrible. The water, Lake Erie, sadly, when I was a kid, was inhospitable not just the swimmers and people who wanted to have fun, but the fish. Because the only fish I remember seeing in Lake Erie were floating sideways with one eye looking up at the sky. For those who don't know, though, they were dead. That's how they float sideways. That's what I remember. And a murky kind of mucky brown. And you go back now and it's a vibrant ecosystem of life and people using it, boaters and swimmers, and it's wow, they did amazing what smart policy can do. It's quite remarkable, actually. And now we have the six in the robes who clearly know better. Our climatologists on the Supreme Court clearly now know better, because they're going to restrain the ability to really do anything about this in the future. And you go, well, there was nuance. No, what this is really about, this is ideological. This is about restraining government's ability to regulate. Understand what the conservative movement is about. It's about dragging government into the bathtub and drowning it in the bathtub. That's what it's about. It's about your ability and my ability to hold the powers to be accountable. That's the big picture here. Dwindling this down to its lowest common denominator, where the rubber meets the road for you and me. Do we, the people, have the ability, the right, the power to ensure that our air is clean, that our water is clean, that our environment's clean, that the food that we eat is safe, that the products that we use are safe? Do we have that right? Do we have the right through our government to ensure that the things that we expect, and this is very dangerous precedence here. This is scary times, but this is what conservatives say they want. They want, the Wild West. And I don't think they quite know what they're getting in this. Now, again, they say, well, corporate America, they'll police themselves because they'll act in their best interests because they don't want to get sued, right? Isn't that the answer? They'll do the right thing because some of those trial lawyers, those evil leftist trial lawyers, they'll hold them accountable. Except when you have a court system that's as rigged as ours is, good luck if you're the one who's been harmed. Oh, by the way, you're probably dead, so good luck getting justice then. This is my problem with these kind of decisions. And we knew it was coming. We've been talking about this for a very long time. You knew this court was going to go there. And look, they're taking us back to the good old days. The good old days of the 80s and 90s and not the 1980s and 90s. This is the move of conservatism to take us back to the Gilded Age, back to the age when the wealthy and the powerful controlled everything and the rest of us were desperate. And obviously pitted against each other. And I would argue we're already here. We're just fighting over what little scraps are left. So for me, this is another one of those moments where time to do something. Will we? I don't know. Still outraged about the road decision being overturned. I still outraged about that. Will this fly under that radar? I think it will. But I think this is as dangerous because, well, this is humanity. This is everybody. And you go, but Rick, the women, the women. I'm with them. I'm 100%. I'm on the page. We should be doing absolutely. But this decision, I think, is deadly as well, because this is humanity. Our ability to regulate the polluters and hold people accountable. This is scary stuff. I'd love to hear your thoughts. 1-866-416-RICK, 1-866-416-7425 if you want to weigh in. Also, the president came out and said that he would be in favor of a carve-out to the filibuster to codify the abortion rights in the law. Again, I'm not a legal scholar, but I kind of have a question. Let's say we do pass a law that says, yay, abortion is now the law of the land. Doesn't the Supreme Court just rule that unconstitutional? Just kind of a thought, just kind of throwing that out there, especially if you have 50 50 plus one. Just kind of throwing that out there. No, look, I'm in favor of getting this done, getting something done, moving in a direction that all the horrible that I see coming in the days, weeks, and months don't actually happen. We need to do something without question. But this is the push of the day. Will it happen? No. No filibuster reform. No changing that. I have always been someone who says the filibuster should be difficult. Not impossible. The filibuster should be difficult. You should have to stand there, hold your water, speak your words, even if they're the best words. But you should have to hold the floor. You should have to at least entertain. Read the phone book, Mickey Mouse, that book you claim to love so much. Read the Bible. Hey, everybody should hear it anyway. Something. You shouldn't just be able to sit in your office and go, no, I filibustered. And then we don't get to know who filibustered. This should be a much more public, much more performative display. Just my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours. You can email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com. Let's go to the phones. Alice on line one. Alice, how are you?
I am okay, and how are you?
I am frustrated. I am angry. I'm I'm looking at the six in robes going, predictable, still angering.
I know. Well, and I'm going to get sarcastic here. Well, Jesus is just going to come get everybody. Now, I am quoting, by the way, the local evangelical Trumper. Jesus is going to come down, and he is going to save everybody. So we're not going to have to worry about that, and he is going to just renew the world after all the sinners get killed.
After they get killed. I was going to say, hold on, there's a part of that story you're missing. Because when Jesus returns, I'm told he's coming back, and it's not going to be pretty. He's coming back. He's going to be Rambo Jesus with a sword and an AR-15, and he's going to wipe out the heathens.
Yeah, but, hey, I don't think they know the whole story either. But let me continue on, because I'm just sitting there looking, going, have you even read the book? Are you an idiot? But here's the rest of their version, okay? And we have nothing to worry about because, all them billionaires and the Republicans are trying to take us to space to find out other planets. Because there ain't nobody else on any of them planets out there. All that alien nonsense, well, that's just make-believe. So you got nothing to worry about.
You should move.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, Rick, don't worry about it. Either Jesus is coming or we're going to all go to another planet.
Yeah, we're not going to another planet.
Yeah. Well, I said, and it started a bit of a, I got sarcastic, and I said, here's the thing. What if there is alien life out there and Jesus likes them better? What are we going to do then?
Ouch. Ouch. You just hurt somebody's feelings.
Yeah, I did. But, hey, it happens.
There you go.
So anyways, have a good evening.
Thanks, Alice. Appreciate it. Look, we're not going to another planet. I still say the whole space exploration thing is figuring out which one of those billionaires are going to be able to get the resources, the minerals back here so they can be the first trillionaire. It's about figuring out how to get all that stuff off those asteroids and those other places so they can mine and rape and pillage up there. And then profit back here. There's no living, at least not the way we think of living on another planet, at least not in our lifetimes. Anyway, love to hear your thoughts. Email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com, or give us a call, 1-866-416-RICK, 1-866-416-7425. If you want to weigh in, you got thoughts, questions, comments, something on today's decisions by these six in the robes, love to hear it. Quick break, right back. Stick around. If you're a fan of the show, you've heard our labor history in 2 segments, and you can hear them on the radio pretty much anywhere in the U.S. Labor history has never been more important than it is right now. So here's what we'd like you to do. Tell a Teacher. Tell a teacher that labor history is important and that they can get digestible 2-minute lessons that are absolutely free. Free to download, free to use, free to share. Tell a teacher to go to thericksmithshow.com/history and help us put labor back where it belongs, in the classroom. You know, generations of American workers fought, bled, and died to build the American way of life. It's our job to keep their stories alive. Go tell a teacher that we're here to help them do just that. Find us at thericksmithshow.com/history today.
Welcome back to the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is Rick Smith.
1-866-416-RICK, 1-866-416-7425. If you thought this term was fun, oh, just wait. It's going to get better. Look, it's going to be better. The robed ones are taking cases and well, they've turned some down, but taking cases that are going to be really troublesome in the future. But one they turned down was about evidently there was a case coming out of New York about the vaccine mandates. You know, religious people very unhappy because there's no religious exemption. Clarence Thomas, in his dissent, wrote that the people that were bringing this, they object on religious grounds to all available COVID-19 vaccines because they were developed using cell lines derived from aborted children. Now, here's the reality. No, they weren't. There are no aborted children in the vaccines. They're not. It's not there. It didn't happen. But these folks, the believers believe they do, and now they're going to go through hoops, all this mental gymnastics to make it okay for Clarence Thomas, a Supreme Court justice, to spew nonsense and misinformation by saying, well, he was just saying, what the believers believe. He doesn't actually believe this. He was just reciting, what those people believe. Well, they're wrong. And why can't we say, no, they're wrong? The reason we're not taking this is they're freaking wrong. What happened to, you're just stupid. Stop. No. Much bigger than this. Thomas wanted to take this because, again, it's all about this belief that the far right is somehow being persecuted because they don't get to impose their narrow-minded views on the rest of us. Somehow that's bad for them. And look, believe what you want. Do what you want. Follow your path. Lead your best life. As long as your beliefs, your twisted mindset doesn't affect me, we're good. As my grandfather said, don't worry about me, worry about yourself. Simple, easy. It's one of the things I lead my life by. You want to go do something, God bless you, or whoever you follow, bless you. Good on you. But because I won't do it too, doesn't mean that somehow you're being persecuted. Except, then they go, well, if we don't do it and you do, then we're against it and you shouldn't be able to do it either, which again comes back to, well, the whole same-sex marriage thing, the whole same-sex thing, which, again, you don't have to do it. My position on gay marriage from the very beginning was always very simple. If you're against it, don't do it. That was pretty simple, wasn't it? Pretty simple. If someone came up to me, if a guy came up and said, hey, I like you, I'd like to marry you, I go, oh, thank you, I appreciate that. No, I'm good, though. But hey, I appreciate it. Next, good luck. Which brings me to Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, who's now saying, because remember what the right's telling us. Roe is the end. Overturning Roe, that we've righted a wrong. We're not going to go after same-sex marriage. We're not going to go after, contraception. We're not going to go after all of the other stuff. We're not going to undo the 20th century. Cross our heart and cross our fingers behind our back. We're not going to do it. No, trust us. Trust us. Trust us. Not going to do it. Except Ken Paxton says, well, he's willing and able to bring back, a ban on on same-sex relations. Going back and undoing, I believe it was the Lawrence decision, which, you stop me to think about it, it was only, 2003? And that was a 6-3 decision back then. Think about this. It was a 6-3 decision saying that, you know what, mind your own damn business, states, like Kansas and Texas. What consenting adults do within the confines of their own four walls, their business. Their business. You mind yours, they'll mind theirs. The three dissenting folk, Clarence Thomas being one of them. The other two being Scalia and William Rehnquist. That's how far to the extreme this Supreme Court has gone. So you think, well, gee, if Lawrence is on the table, we're going to go back to sodomy laws, and we're going to go back to locking people up for what they do in the privacy of their homes. What's next? I mean, Griswold is not far. That gave, married couples the ability to get contraception, a very highly private thing. And then Stanley, what was it? I think it was Stanley and Eisenstadt, I think, were the cases that ended up expanding Griswold to unmarried couples. That stuff's on the table. Oh, that means you, straight people. That's just not the gays. As I've said, everyone's in the Shark Tank. Everyone's in the conservative Shark Tank. And when their bad intentions, when their ideology gets a taste, you're going to be next. That's how bad these things are. Now, one of the things they did take, this case out of North Carolina, that is going to shift the power to decide what happens in elections from state courts to legislatures. Stop and think about what just happened in this country. Stop and think about if state legislatures had the power to overturn a presidential election. Stop and think about the states that might, I don't know, have decided they were going to change their electors. Stop and think about, how many Republican states might just go, we didn't like the way that election turned out. We're going to take it to the legislature because we've gerrymandered the state to where we control the state house. Stop and think about where this could take us. But they're going to hear this case over the maps there in North Carolina and the Supreme Court shooting them down as being heavily gerrymandered. And this again is another step towards taking your and my power away and putting it into the hands of a few. This isn't about more democracy. This is about less. This is about power and control in the hands of a few, not more. This is scary, dangerous stuff. So when I say possibly the last free election we're going to have in my lifetime, I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm preparing. Because this could be it. Because this case for 2024 could be the decider. Love to hear your thoughts. Email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com. If you miss any of the program or you're just joining us, podcast. Never miss an episode. Subscribe, like, share, all of that stuff. Gonna take a quick break. Right back after this. Stick around. You're listening to The Rick Smith Show. I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1928. That was the day the state...
KCAA.
One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224.
Are you underpaid and overworked? Is a living wage and employee benefits like affordable health care more of a dream than a reality for you and your family? If so, it's time to form a union. Don't be denied the wages and benefits you deserve. Come together in a union with the power of numbers. A union is not a privilege, it's your right, and it will make a difference. Contact Teamsters Local 1932, a powerful and successful labor union in San Bernardino, by visiting Teamsters1932.org/organize to start today. Labor unions built the middle class, and the middle class built America. That's the message from Teamsters Local 1932, a strong and successful labor union based in San Bernardino that represents over 14,000 hardworking people across the Inland Empire. The Teamsters are ready to help you organize for better pay, increased benefits, and improved working conditions. Reach out to Teamsters 1932 at Teamsters1932.org/organize to speak with an organizer today.
Are you graduating high school soon and wondering what to do next? College is one option, but why not consider the high-paying jobs made possible by union power? Labor Union Teamsters Local 1932 has opened a training center to get you into the high school to high-paying job pipeline. You'll learn all the skills needed to excel in opportunities across industries. Visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org. KCAA. One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at KCAA Radio.
Go into medical debt is that they don't have the money. It's not complicated. This is Jim Hightower saying, to help stop healthcare industry's profiteers, go to ripmedicaldebt.org.
Welcome back to the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is Rick Smith.
I think one of my favorite stories today. Evidently, this is evidently the former guy's staff used to play the song "Memory" from the Broadway musical Cats to soothe the Donald whenever he felt a little stressed. So I'm guessing whenever he threw his hamburger against the wall and there was ketchup dripping down the wall, and then it would be the Memory song. Now I don't think I've ever heard it, so I can't sing it for you. I saw Cats one time on Broadway. And, I walked away from it going, the only time I've ever seen a cat do a somersault is someone kicked it. And it just didn't make any sense to me. But the song, I evidently just soothed the beast. Maybe if they were playing that in the car when he was trying to strangle the Secret Service agent, maybe that'd be better. Anyway, here to share some thoughts on our top stories of the day and all the fun and excitement and, well, the hilarity. I've asked our good friend Sarah Burris to come talk with us. Sarah's a reporter over at Raw Story, rawstory.com, the website. Sarah, thanks for taking time for us.
I would sing the song, but I'm scared that we'd get slapped with like a copyright from Andrew Weber.
Yeah, right? I mean, the litigious society we live in. But are you surprised that they came up with to soothe the beast? They played a cat song. I would have thought something. I don't know. I thought something else.
Yeah, I would have thought like some Barbra Streisand or something, but I don't know. He's maybe like, I have a friend who has these like super hyperactive dogs, and she has these essential oils she rubs on the dog's ears. So maybe we could like just grab his ears and rub on him a little bit. See if that works. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
But
no.
Apparently, so Michael Cohen today said he's actually never seen Donald Trump throw ketchup anywhere. But he has seen him throw like papers in a newspaper and magazines and stuff like that. So my favorite meme of this whole thing was I saw there was a glass plate and it said, I guess this is what Trump meant when he said he was going to be tough on China. I've been giggling about that for like 2 days.
That is
good. That's so good.
That's brilliant.
So good.
No, it's not surprising to me. Look, I mean, you get frustrated, you throw things. I mean, he's one of the. I see him as one of those people who it does not surprise me in the slightest, not at all. Especially because he's not going to be the one cleaning it up. I see him going into a room, causing a mess, and having working people have to get on their hands and knees and scrub up his mess. Absolutely, there's no way I don't see that as possible.
I was really worried because the first thing I thought was, oh crap, I hope this wasn't like some really fancy, historic china from some administration or like some, I hope this wasn't in the fancy dining room or, it was like, my immediate reaction was, oh God, please let the White House be okay.
Yeah, it wasn't the stuff Dolly Madison ran away with, right?
Right, like the movie White House Down. Every time the tour guide is like trying to protect all of the antiques in the White House, and then they blow up the piano, and you're just like, no, not the piano. So yeah, that's my whole reaction from the Trump administration was like, oh please God, don't let them hit the kill the historic stuff.
Yeah, don't destroy the stuff. Don't draw mustaches on the pictures. That they're probably all knockoffs. You probably took the other stuff anyway. But big story today. Big story today. Court. Yeah. Robes. The 6 climatologists we now got on the Supreme Court. This is a big deal. This West Virginia thing. Think being able to regulate climate change, do anything to help the planet. Think that matters?
I kind of feel like everybody should just take a nice deep breath because it may be the last clean one we get. That's what I'm a little worried about. This was something that I was a little bit worried about in terms of this is removing regulations, the executive branch's ability to regulate the environment. So I feel like it basically just destroys the EPA. I always felt like the 3 branches of government were equal. But apparently, if the Congress doesn't like dictate in the, in the act that creates the EPA that, you have to specifically clean this type of pollution from this type of company, that's what the court has decided, is that it has to be really specific for it to be enforced,
yep.
Which I think is just complete BS.
No, but again, the court is this court is going to show what activist judges really are all about.
Yeah, so buy your HEPA filters now. Get a couple, one in each room.
Yeah, I hope we're going to need more than that. Now let's talk about the overturning of Roe. There's a congressman from Tennessee that you wrote a story about because I've been alluding to him all week. Because hey, you got your mistresses and they need their abortions and all that stuff. Where's he been? Where? It's kind of like an episode of where are they now? So where is he now?
So this guy was somehow elected in 2012, and ever since then, every person who has run against him has been like, okay, not only is he claiming that he has been anti-choice, but his wife got 2 abortions, and then he had a mistress who he told had to go to Georgia to get an abortion. So really what he's saying is he's anti-choice except for all of his people that he doesn't want to have kids with. And so he hasn't said anything for like over a week. Nobody really knows where he is. His office hasn't put out a statement or anything. No pictures.
Yeah, I always butcher his name, so I don't usually jump in.
Too. It's like D Hart. It's like
I
want to pronounce it like James Harden, but that's not it. D Hardinas.
It's something like that.
That's how it's spelled. No beard, so.
Yeah, and bald.
Yeah. and white also. Like, he looks nothing like James Harden. It's just the name.
So why'd you have to bring forward James Harden?
But yeah,
James Harden didn't have an abortion.
I know. It's the name. And I don't fear the beard. I still love the beard, even though he doesn't play for the Thunder anymore. And he hasn't for like a decade. But anyway, sorry. NBA.
Yeah. So are you relieved, as I kind of am at this point, that the Supreme Court is kind of taking a break so that we could at least take one of our last clean breaths for a while, in knowing that the horrible is stopped for now. I mean, it's been bad. It's been really bad. But it's going to get worse because, well, we've got some pretty ugly on the future. Are you at least like I am going, well, we got a lot of mess to clean up, but at least for now it's stopped?
At least for now it's stopped, and the only thing that I can hope is that maybe Ketanji Brown Jackson is going to come into the court and just completely destroy them whenever it comes to the arguments. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if they have any shame anymore, but I feel like she is so whip smart that there could be an argument in front of the court where she's asking leading questions to, to the crazy people that are bringing this case, and maybe it will ultimately make the judges look stupid in their decisions. But I don't know. That's my fantasy. That's what I just keep thinking about, that and real estate in like Costa Rica. And
yeah. So is this a moment where we go, the court has so badly jumped the shark that maybe now we have to put it on TV, that now we need a SCOTUS, we need a C-SPAN for SCOTUS, that it's so bad that now you've got to have these moments where we're going to turn the Supreme, because I would argue Clarence Thomas is already the Lauren Boebert of the Supreme Court. I would argue that he's already wants to be a reality TV star. He already wants the attention. I would argue Alito kind of in that world as well. Are we at that moment where finally, hey, we're just going to open the court. We're going to put it on TV so people can see these arguments and maybe make opinions and thoughts for themselves instead of having it behind closed doors?
We got to figure out how to do that. I mean, I think it would be awesome. I don't know how we mandate that. I don't know how we say, because the first thing that's going to happen is the court's just going to like pitch a total fit. But gosh, I don't know. I feel like it was a lot easier whenever they were on Zoom all the time, because then at least somebody could do a screen cap of it. And now it's just so rare that we're even able to hear. Like, you can't even have people at the Supreme Court to hear the decisions because everything's blocked off, and we've got a giant fence around it right now. And
look, as we now have to protect them from their horrible decisions, it's only going to get worse because they're going to get further behind a shield to where they're going to be further away from the repercussions of their actions, which is going to insulate them even further from any possible accountability, because, hey, they're there for life. There's no accountability. There's no throwing them out. I know people say, no, we're going to impeach them. Yeah. Good luck on that.
Yeah. The thing that is sad is that people like Kavanaugh live in states like Maryland where he benefits from Democratic policies. So, the air is nice in Maryland, in Chevy Chase, Maryland. I don't think anybody can go and dump a whole barrel of oil on his yard. If his daughter needs an abortion, she's going to be able to get it. So, I feel like if you're going to enact these crazy right-wing policies, at least you should be forced to live in a right-wing state.
Okay. So the barrel of oil, who's going to pay for that? Because that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it may actually, one of my mother's many husbands, cheated on her, and so she took a deal of Roundup, and wrote "slut" in the woman's yard. I have always heard salt is better because you'll never be able to grow anything there ever again. But my mom used Roundup, and I really respected her for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. So maybe there's an idea you just put into somebody's head. You listen to the Rick Smith
Please
show.
don't break any laws. I'm just gonna say, please don't break any laws. But and don't put salt on anybody's yard ever, unless they're a husband cheating, I guess.
There you go. You listen to the Rick Smith Show. We're here with Sarah Burris. She's a reporter at Raw Story, rawstory.com, the website. You're just talking about some minor criming, some minor vandalism, writing in people's lawns with Roundup. I don't suggest it. Please don't write to me and say that I got into trouble because you told me to do it. I'm not advocating for that. Thanks, Sarah. You're going to get us in trouble. Going to get the FBI coming after us saying, you said to go get Kevin Oz and put... not good stuff. I want to get your thoughts on the post-Roe era. I had someone the other day go, what's interesting is how quickly Republicans pivoted from how they cared about, the life of the mother and rape and incest, and how now they're going, just extreme. And I look at the governor of the guy who's running for governor in my state, Benito Mastriano, who's, far out on the fringe, under no circumstances, nothing. I look at the Speaker of the House in Mississippi, this Philip Gunn, who evidently was asked by a reporter the question, so a 12-year-old molested by her father and uncle carry the pregnancy to term, and he said, that's my belief. I believe life begins at conception. He would have he would force that 12-year-old to give birth because, hey, that's what he believes. It's what he believes.
What I want to know is how many rape babies is he going to adopt? That's the question that I think every reporter needs to be asking these Republicans. How many rape babies do you plan to adopt? Because there's going to be a lot of them in your state. There's going to be even more if you decide that life begins at conception and all of a sudden, women can't have IUDs and a slate of other things.
Well, even worse, Sarah, my thought goes like this, and this is where it's kind of even scarier still. Now that you're not marking out the rape and incest part as potential, women who are raped or are criminalized, victimized by incest, they're not going to report it because they're not going to be able to get access to what limited options they're going to have, which means I believe that rape and incest will actually go up while the reporting will go down. And these Republican states will go, see what we done did? We made rape and incest go away.
And that's basically what Greg Abbott has said in Texas. What makes me completely insane is that the state of Texas is the second largest state in population. And yet, I think there are like 10 million fewer people that live in Texas than California. Yet they have more rapes in the state of Texas than the state of California, which has 10 million more people in it. And so my question is, why is there a rape epidemic in Texas? Like, what is so wrong with you and your state that you can't even handle being around women there? So much less, they're not even going to let women have Plan B or something like that anymore. That's what's actually happening in Kansas City. A whole slate of hospitals in Kansas City, Missouri isn't giving Plan B to rape survivors anymore. So when they come into the hospital and they get a full rape kit, you get a Plan B along with it, which is just emergency contraception, not an abortion. It's not an abortion pill, contrary to what any crazy right-winger seems to think. And so there are women now who have no option whenever they're sexually assaulted in the state of Missouri. And it's happening. It's already happening whenever it comes to contraception. And that's what Clarence Thomas said in his decision, is that, yes, he's starting with Roe, but he wants to get rid of Griswold v. Connecticut, which basically said that no government has any room in a couple's bedroom, and people can get whatever the heck kind of birth control they want to use. It's going to be Lawrence versus Texas, which was the law that said that, you know, people can have whatever the heck sex they want to have, including sodomy. You know, it's going to be Oberfeld, which is gay marriage. And I feel like we've been sort of sounding the alarm about Roe for a really long time, and nobody really believes us.
Yep.
And now we're sounding the alarm about all the others, and nobody really believes us.
No, it's going to happen. I believe that it's going to happen, and maybe there's part of me that goes, you know, maybe it has to. Maybe you got to go back to square one and fight the fight all over again, because that's the only way I think we learn. Maybe I don't know. When do the pitchforks come out, or do they?
You know, that's the thing that I think is interesting. I was looking at a couple of different races, pulling in some other races in some of the Senate races that are going to be really close. The Walker and Warnock race, Walker is now down by 10 points.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks ago. We saw they were dead even. And granted, Warnock had not been actually running against him, running, you know, ads and stuff. But in 2 weeks, the dude lost 10 points. That's huge.
Yeah, well, people started paying attention to the dumb stuff he's been saying. I'm an FBI agent.
I mean, I hope that happens in Nevada, because one of the cases, or one of the stories I wrote today was about the Attorney General of Nevada, who was caught on tape telling pastors that he's going to try and get rid of abortion in Nevada, which is a freedom state right now. It's a free state. Women have freedom there. And so I want to say it's like 26% of people oppose all abortions across the board in Nevada. It's a very small number. So good luck with that, dude.
Yeah, well, the important thing is make sure that people know that. But Sarah, I appreciate the time as always. Yeah. Good stuff. Hope people check out the reporting. You do great work over there at Raw Story. Sarah Burris, reporter, Raw Story. Thanks so much, Sarah. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
As always, good stuff. Going to take a quick break. Right back here after this. Stick around. You're listening to The Rick Smith Show. We're working people. Come to talk. I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. This day in labor history, the year was 1885. That was the day that streetcar workers went out on strike. The West Division Street Railroad Company had reduced the number of trips it made each day. The workers asked for a wage increase to make up for the loss of earnings. In response, management fired 15 union leaders. Outraged members of the city's labor movement rallied to the cause of the West Side Streetcarmen's Benevolent Association. Thousands of Chicagoans lined the company's tracks. Calls went out to revoke the company's charter. Mayor Harrison urged the company not to try and run their cars in the charged environment. But the company's management refused to listen. They demanded police protection to get their streetcars running. A police captain by the name of John Bonfield was assigned the task. Bristling with policemen, 10 streetcars rolled out into the crowd. Under Bonfield's orders, the police clubbed strikers and protesters along the tracks. When a group of bricklayers yelled "rats" at the passing cars, they were arrested. In all, 150 protesters went to jail that day. After 7 days, the strike ended in a compromise. The workers saw an increase in their wages, and all but 2 of the workers who had been fired got their jobs back. The action propelled Captain Bonfield's career as a strikebreaker. He became known as Captain Blackjack Bonfield. It was Captain Bonfield who led the police confrontation with workers at a rally the next year that sparked the Haymarket tragedy. Labor History in 2 brought to you by the Illinois Labor History Society and The Rick Smith Show. For more information, go to laborhistoryin2.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on the Twitters at Labor History in 2.
You're listening to The Rick Smith Show, where working people come to talk.
So the research firm Accountable.us has put out some interesting little numbers. They point out that General Mills, you know, the cereal company, you know, big food conglomerate, they in the past year have raised their prices 5 times in the last year. 5 times. They point out from the earning data that they've put out, General Mills has shown how they've used that price inflation and how well it's paid off for them. Fourth quarter profits skyrocketed 97% to $823 million. For fiscal year 2022, the company's profits are up 16% to $2.2 billion. And what have they done with that money, you ask? Did they invest in new plants? Did they pay their workers more? Did they hire more? Did they build new facilities to meet new demands? Did they anything? New products? No. They handed about $2 billion of that out to shareholders, and they boosted their buyback program by 191%. Yeah, so what they're doing is they're taking money out of your pocket because they raised prices 5 times, and they're putting it into theirs. That's right. Massive redistribution of wealth from the working class to the investor class. And are you surprised? But it's Joe Biden's fault, Rick. Joe Biden raised the price of cereal 5 times. Joe Biden did that. Switch in the White House. Of course, you know it's right there. It's right next to the button that presses the bomb. You know, it's the nuclear economy button right there. It's the inflation button. Yeah, that's what it is. They also point out that Hormel Foods, they raised their prices not once but twice, evidently, in 2021. They've shown 5 consecutive record net sale profit quarters. Good for them, I guess. $132 million in the first quarter they handed out in shareholder dividends. They're doing so well that they bought up $3.35 billion acquisition, I'll get it, of Kraft's Heinz Planters Peanuts, the largest acquisition in the company's history. Yay, good for them. They're expanding, monopolizing, and controlling the market. Good for them, because you know what they can do then? That's right, they can raise their prices and make more profit. Yes! That is the capitalistic American way. Also, Mondelez. They own the Oreo, the Wheat Thins, the Ritz crackers, the Triscuits, those things. Their profits grew, $800 million in 2021. Increase up 7% in January. They did a $4 billion stock buyback and dividends in 2021. Hey, good for them. Again, enriching themselves. And also Kroger. You may remember Kroger, the largest food supermarket chain in the country. Remember how they were crying poverty a little bit? They were going to have to pass, price increases along to consumers. Well, they're now in a position of strength. They reported a third quarter operating profit of $868 million and spent almost $300 million of that on quarterly stock buybacks. Because, hey, they got all this cash just laying around because guess what they did? That's right. They raised prices. They raised prices on you. They raised prices on me. And but I know, Rick, Joe Biden's fault. It's all Joe Biden. All this inflation, it's Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Never mind the monster behind the curtain. Forget about the elephant in the room. Forget about corporate America lining their pockets. It's all Joe Biden. It's all his fault. Keep buying that.
There were multiple errors, miscalculations, and just a total lack of resources by the U.S. Forest Service.
New Mexico's largest ever wildfire caused by a prescribed burn. Japan's electric grid strains under historic extreme heat wave. Plus,
about 3/4.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. Pump prices are down slightly from record levels as millions hit the road this holiday weekend. AAA says the nationwide average price is $4.84 a gallon after sitting at just $3.12 a gallon this time last year. Despite the high prices, 42 million Americans are set to travel by car to enjoy the 4th of July. Millions of Americans are in for a crazy holiday travel weekend, dealing with more than 2,500 flight cancellations already today.
Our flight on American was delayed because of crew, so we're going to miss our connection.
There aren't enough pilots to fly the schedules that airlines made months ago. American, United, and Delta are all cutting flights for the next few weeks. Experts say 4th of July weekend travelers have paid an average of $440 for airfare, up 45% from 2019. President Biden says the choice is clear after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade.
We either elect federal senators and representatives who will codify Roe, or Republicans who will elect the House and Senate who will try to ban abortions nationwide.
He made that remark while talking with governors from states including New York and Illinois. Biden added Roe being overturned has implications for the right to privacy in general. The White House is denouncing Florida's new Don't Say Gay law as discrimination, plain and simple. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre noted some of Florida's most vulnerable students and families are more fearful and less free. Wisconsin-based Kohl's is calling off its sale agreement with Franchise Group. The chairman of the board at Kohl's made that announcement this morning, saying the company canceled the sale because of market volatility. Franchise Group offered Kohl's $60 a share for the company earlier this year. Meantime, Kohl's stock is falling significantly on Wall Street. Minions, The Rise of Gru is reeling in over $10 million in Thursday previews from domestic box offices. The latest entry in the Despicable Me franchise is expected to bring in between $65 and $75 million over the holiday weekend. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
Open for takeout and delivery, El Tepeyac Mexican food restaurant in the Tri-City Center of Redlands is back. Their entire family is on hand to serve up their delicious burritos, machaca, chorizo, huevos rancheros, steak and eggs, just part of their mouth-watering great food. Since 1531, people have marveled at the miracle of El Tepeyac, and now you can marvel at the great food the Lugo family has been serving up for over 2 decades, nestled quietly in the corner of the Tri-City Center shopping mall next to Burlington Coat Factory. Support them. They can't wait to serve you some of their delectable, authentic, south-of-the-border Mexican fare at great prices, served up with love. Support the area's best-loved Mexican food restaurant in these tough times. Order up a tasty meal on the phone for delivery or takeout for breakfast, lunch, or dinner from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 909-307-0017. That's 909-307-0017. Or Google El Tepeyac Redlands and treat yourself.
What does the WeatherBug app tell you?
My commute will be a doozy today.
Pack my allergy meds.
Lightning. Pick up a pizza, not a tennis racket.
With more free map layers than any other weather app, WeatherBug tells you more of what you need to know to prepare you for the unpredictable. Discover why over 10 million users choose WeatherBug.
Maybe it's a commute to the couch day.
Download the WeatherBug app today for free.
This segment brought to you by Matt Flores of Secure Choice Lending in Riverside. We thank Matt for being a man of his word.
Hi, I'm Matt. No one is more curious than now about the real estate market and what lies ahead. But one thing is for sure, we can help you with your next move. We're licensed in 14 states, and we take pride in our trustworthy service that takes the stress out of your next refinance or next real estate transaction.
You can find Matt Flores of Secure Choice Lending at www.securechoicelending.com or on Instagram at MatthewF444. No matter what your age is, it's never too late or early to find a good lender. You can call 951-742-1382. That's 951-742-1382. Or Google Matt Flores Loans.
Hey, mortgages are kind of boring, but we keep it fun. NMLS 1161689.
One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224.
KCAA.
You're listening to the Tahibo Tea Club radio show, hosted by Milan Vukovic, founder of the Tahibo Tea Club.
Welcome to the Tahibo Tea Club Radio Hour. My name is Milan Vukovic. I'm the founder of the Tahibo Tea Club. Without my father, John Vukovic, there would be no Tahibo Tea Club. My father was diagnosed with colon cancer that had spread to the pancreas in 1998 at the age of 86. He started receiving treatment at the Houston Medical Center, which is the biggest medical center in the world, bigger than Boston. Because the size of the tumor on my father's pancreas was the size of a half a brick, I was told that there wasn't anything they could do for my father and that I needed to put my father's affairs in order since he had about 2 months to live. So, of course, I started planning a funeral. I called our friends and family and told them how grave the situation was and told them that if they wanted to see Dad, they only had a couple of months, and they might want to do so now. One of the families that came to pay their last respects to my father came and brought Tahibo tea with them. They said Tahibo tea cured their brother from cancer. I looked at them incredulous, as if they were Martians or something. I mean, my dad was getting treated at the Houston Medical Center, and no one was saying anything other than to plan a funeral, and these people were telling me that the tea's going to cure my dad? But of course, I was polite to the people since they came to pay their respects. In any event, after they left, I cooked up the tea, and my father figured if he had 2 months to live, what's the difference if he's drinking the tea or water? He has to drink something anyway. So he's drinking the tea, and 2 months later, when they put him on a CAT scan machine, they thought their CAT scan machine was broken because they couldn't find the tumor on his pancreas that used to be the size of a half a brick. So they said to my father, you know, the hospital right next door here at the medical center also has a CAT scan machine. Since you already drank the contrast dye, we'll phone them and you can walk over and they'll take a picture so you don't have to come back and do it all over again next week when we get a machine fixed. So my father walked next door. They took a picture. They couldn't find any cancer either. My father is now 86 years old. He's been cancer-free for over 20 years. And not only is he cancer-free, he's in such good health, he takes care of my garden and even mows my lawn. I mean, I'd be embarrassed about it if he didn't enjoy doing it, and I know it's good for him. Our customers always get a kick out of it when they ask me how my dad's doing, and I tell them as long as he's mowing my lawn, he must be doing pretty good. The tea's certainly been a blessing in my family's life, and God willing, our tea will have the same benefits for you, your family and friends, as it has for mine and so many others. Not a week goes by that someone doesn't call in with a truly miraculous recovery. Bone cancer, brain cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, mesothelioma, leukemia, diabetes, you name it. And not a day goes by that someone doesn't call in with some type of a success, whether it's just beating toenail fungus. Well, toenail fungus may not be imminently life-threatening, but if you have it, you don't like it. The Tahibo tree is an amazing tree. It never gets sick, never gets infected, and never gets infested. As a result, the highest potency Tahibo comes from the inner bark of the tree where the arterial and vein system, called the xylem and the phloem, in the tree reside, which brings nutrients to the rest of the tree. And that's why we only harvest mature trees over 40 years old in the rainforest of Brazil. The harvest method we use is to semi-strip some outer bark to get to the inner bark without cutting down the tree and allowing the tree to heal itself so they can be harvested again. It's also the only tree in the world the fungus doesn't grow on. So as a result, it naturally has antifungal, anti-infection, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. These benefits go a long way to helping our immune system contend with a lot of things it normally has to contend with on a daily basis. Parasites would be something like stomach problems. Inflammation would be something like rheumatoid arthritis. Infection would be any infection from a tooth infection to a bladder infection. Viral would be something like herpes. Bacteria would be something like gum disease or stomach bacteria. And fungus would be something like toenail fungus or candida. But maybe more importantly, what the tea does is build the red corpuscles in the blood which carry oxygen to our organs and cells. Our organs and cells need oxygen to regenerate themselves. Our immune system needs oxygen to develop, and cancer happens to die on oxygen. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps regenerate new cells. Everything from the cells in our skin so we look better to the cells in our organs so they function properly. And it can truly be miraculous for somebody fighting a potentially life-threatening disease such as diabetes or cancer. In future programs, we'll discuss Tahibo tea versus AIDS, anemia, arthritis, asthma, bronchitis, other types of cancers, colitis, diabetes, diverticulitis, eczema, fungus, gastritis, gonorrhea, gout, HIV, impotence, infections, leukemia, lupus, Parkinson's, prostatitis, pyorrhea, rheumatism, ringworm, ulcers, virus, and yeast infections. One time a customer asked me, he said, boy, it sounds like the tea helps with everything. It does really help with a lot of different things, but for some things, for example, with the bones, calcium helps with the bones. The Tahibo helps with a lot of different things, but you need some other things also for a healthy diet. I'd like to talk a little about the proper preparation directions for Tahibo tea to be effective. Even though we call it tea, what you're actually preparing when you make it properly is a decoction. A decoction is just a fancy word for what our forefathers used to make when they used to take a root and cook it in order to release its beneficial properties. It's easy, but you don't steep it in hot water like regular leaf tea, but rather cook it like spaghetti. I'll tell you how easy it is to make just so you don't think you'll need a degree in physics, but you don't have to remember any of this because the directions, of course, are on the packages as well as in the literature you automatically receive with your order. You take a pot of water, bring it to a boil. Once the water is boiling, you toss in a tablespoon of tea for every 2 cups of boiling water. Cook it on high for 5 minutes, reduce the heat, and cook on simmer for an additional 15 minutes. Since our tea comes from the only tree in the world the fungus doesn't grow on, you can make a whole big batch, 10 or 20 cups at a time, leave it in the pot on the stove, and it'll stay good for 4 days without refrigeration. Put it in the fridge, and it'll stay good for 8 days with refrigeration, and you can drink it hot, room temperature, cold, or iced. The tea has a mild, pleasant flavor, kind of halfway between Lipton tea and green tea, but a little bit sweeter than either one of those. Our tea tastes so good that 95% of our customers drink it straight without putting anything else in it. Even teenagers drink it straight. So, you know it must taste pretty good. You can, however, add anything you want to the tea after you prepare it, such as lemon, for example. About the only thing we don't recommend to add to the tea is sugar. Not because it has any contraindications with our tea, but because sugar feeds virtually everything bad in our body, from fungus to diabetes to cancer. The other thing you can do to change the flavor and have some fun while cooking the tea, you can take any old fruit that you have on hand, like an apple, a pear, a peach, mango, whatever it is, slice it up, or take blueberries and crush them up and toss them into the boiling water at the same time you're tossing the tea in, and cook it with the tea. You can also take ginger or a cinnamon stick and cook it with the tea. And because the tea naturally has such a mild flavor, you'll immediately change the flavor to the fruit that you're using. This is especially useful when you're giving the tea to a child to drink, because an 8-year-old has not acquired a taste for any kind of tea, regardless how mild it tastes. Tahibo tea has no contraindications with any medications, so it can be taken on an empty stomach, a full stomach, with medications or without medications, and with or without other therapies. It also has no caffeine, so it can be drank all day and all night. In my family, we all drink it like water all day, every day. I only drink water 3 or 4 times a week when I get tired of drinking a tea.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with Milan and more from the Tahibo Tea Club radio show in just a minute. But for now, here's a word from our sponsors.
You're listening to the Tahibo Tea Club radio show. All packaging is in 1-pound packages. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, and that includes shipping.
And 1 pound makes 300 8-ounce cups or glasses of tea. That's the equivalent of 12 cents a glass to make. So even if you're drinking 8 glasses a day, that's 96 cents a day to at least give yourself the opportunity for success. All orders ship immediately the same day. Orders in Los Angeles, where we're located, arrive in 1 day. Orders everywhere else arrive in 2 days. Tahibo tea is great for healthy people because it helps regenerate cells. Everything from the cells in our skin so we look better to the cells in our organs so they function properly. And it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease such as an infection, diabetes, or cancer. In Milan Vukovic's family, everyone drinks it every day like water, from his 20-year-old son to his parents, who are both now 86. For more information about Tahibo tea or to order, please visit our website, www.tahiboteaclub.com. Taheebo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy. Oh, that's Taheebo, and then continue with the word T, and then the word club. So the complete site is www.tahebotclub.com, or call today at 818-610-8088. That's 818-610-8088. LA offices open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday, California time. That's area code 818-610-8088.
Taheebo Tea Club's original Pure Pau Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus does not grow on. As a result, it naturally has antifungal, anti-infection, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TaheeboTeaClub.com. Taheebo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TaheeboTeaClub.com, or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TaheeboTeaClub.com.
Welcome back. This is Milan Vukovic, founder of the Taheebo Tea Club. My father's case was a case of colon cancer that had metastasized to the pancreas. I'd like to tell you about another cancer case about a man from Chicago. In 2009, he was diagnosed with brain cancer, specifically lymphoma of the brain. They immediately started chemo and radiation treatments, but his cancer kept getting worse. The chemo and radiation were not working for him, and they were making him sicker by the day because they're not easy treatments. By January 2010, he was literally on his deathbed. A friend of his who had heard about the tea called us and said, go ahead and send the tea to him in Chicago, even though it's probably too late for our friend, but for $34.95, it's certainly worth a try. So we went ahead, sent the tea to him in Chicago. We didn't hear from anyone until about 5 months later. This lady from Texas called to order the tea. We asked her how she heard about the tea, and she said, you know, my husband and I are originally from Chicago, and about 5 months ago when we were back visiting, our good friend Nick was dying from brain cancer. He was in such bad shape that my husband and I looked at each other and thought he was going to pass away that week, so we might as well stay in Chicago so we don't have to come back again the next week for a funeral. Well, Nick got the tea about that time and started drinking it, and he started getting a little bit stronger. My husband and I went back to Texas, and now 5 months later, Nick is visiting us. He looks better than you or I, so whatever it is that he's drinking, we want to drink too. I want to tell you that Nick at that time was 60 years old, and once he beat the cancer, he was feeling so good he got bored staying at home, so he went back to work full-time, and he's been cancer-free and in good health now for over 8 years and still continues to work full-time. I want to shift gears now and talk about diabetes. Oftentimes I get the question, how long does it take for the tea to work? If the tea is going to help, it's going to work rather quickly. In my father's case, it eradicated the tumor in exactly 2 months. In Nick's case with the brain cancer, it was about 3 to 4 months. Now, with diabetes and with all of the conditions with the tea, there's a healing process that's involved. Now, with diabetes, it's very easy to tell that the tea is working. Let's say, for example, if a diabetic is taking on average 40 units of insulin daily. They continue to take their insulin and they start drinking a tea. Since they're measuring the blood sugar on a daily basis to know whether to take 35 units or 40 units or 45 units of insulin, which makes a big difference, they'll notice typically that in 2 weeks, instead of needing 40 units of insulin, they only need 30 units of insulin. In 4 weeks, they'll notice they only need 20 units of insulin. In 6 weeks, they'll only need 10 units of insulin. And in 2 months, they won't need insulin at all. So there's a healing process involved because the tea helps the body to heal itself. And with different conditions, there's different healing times that are involved. With infections, for example, a tooth infection, you can get rid of faster than you can with penicillin. You can get rid of a tooth infection in a week. And what happens with a tooth infection is you start drinking a tea. Well, let's say you have a tooth infection and your head is throbbing like in a cartoons, like a bomb that's about to explode. You take a drink of the tea, you hold it in your mouth for 2 minutes, the pain will immediately go away. You can't even get rid of the pain that quickly with a Vicodin. Now, if you stop drinking the tea at that point, you haven't knocked out enough bacteria, so the pain will come back in about 30 minutes. But you take another drink in about 30 minutes. If you take a drink of the tea, let's say 1 glass an hour for 4 hours, you'll completely get rid of the pain. But you haven't still knocked out all the bacteria, so if at that point you stop drinking the tea, the pain will come back in about 3 days. So you need to continuously drink the tea for 1 week in order to get rid of the pain. Kind of like when you go to a dentist and the dentist says, here's the penicillin, take 2 a day. Even though you're going to feel great in a day, you have to drink it for 10 days or so in order to completely knock out the bacteria. Same thing with the tea. You need to completely drink the tea until you knock out the bacteria, which typically in case of a tooth infection takes about a week to 10 days. In other infections, it takes a little bit longer. So, for example, with a bladder infection or a urinary tract infection, it's common to take about 2 weeks to completely get rid of the infection, but you get relief like within 24 hours so that you don't have the pain associated. Now, talking about urinary tract infections, there are folks that get chronic urinary tract infections. And what happens is they go to the doctor gives them antibiotics, they drink the antibiotics for 2 weeks, and the infection goes away. A month later, the infection comes back, they go back to the doctor, they get some more antibiotics, and in 2 weeks the pain goes away. And what happens is they keep cycling on and off the antibiotics, which obviously is not a good thing to do, on an ongoing regular basis. On the other hand, they could just drink the tea. The tea is great for them for a lot of other health benefits as well. In 2 weeks, they'll be rid of their urinary tract infection, and they won't get the infection back.
You're listening to the Taheebo Tea Club radio show. All packaging is in 1 pound packages. A 1 pound package of tea is $49.95, and that includes shipping.
And 1 pound makes 308 ounce cups or glasses of tea. That's the equivalent of 12 cents a glass to make. So even if you're drinking 8 glasses a day, that's 96 cents a day to at least give yourself the opportunity for success. All orders ship immediately the same day. Orders in Los Angeles, where we're located, arrive in 1 day. Orders everywhere else arrive in 2 days. Taheebo tea is great for healthy people because it helps regenerate cells. Everything from the cells in our skin so we look better to the cells in our organs so they function properly. And it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease such as an infection, diabetes, or cancer. In Milan Vukovic's family, everyone drinks it every day like water, from his 20-year-old son to his parents, who are both now 86. For more information about Taheebo tea or to order, please visit our website, www.TaheeboTeaClub.com. Taheebo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy. Oh, that's Taheebo, and then continue with the word tea, and then the word club. So the complete site is www.TaheeboTeaClub.com, or call today at 818-610-8088. That's 818-610-8088. LA offices open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday, California time. That's area code 818-610-8088.
Taheebo Tea Club's original Pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea helps build red corpuscles in the blood which carry oxygen to our organs and cells. Our organs and cells need oxygen to regenerate themselves. The immune system needs oxygen to develop, and cancer dies in oxygen. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1 pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TaheeboTeaClub.com. Taheebo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TaheeboTeaClub.com, or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TaheeboTeaClub.com.
Our tea has no contraindications with any foods, supplements, or medications. It's naturally caffeine-free. It can be drank in any quantity throughout the day by anyone over the age of 3. Since a baby's nutritional needs are unique, it's not recommended for babies or for women who are breastfeeding or pregnant. The tea has a number of natural benefits. Some of these include helping to control blood sugar, cleansing the blood of cholesterol, and controlling high blood pressure. If you're taking medications for any conditions, please keep taking your medication until your measurements are at a level where your doctor has told you to reduce the amount of medication. For example, if you're a diabetic, you should be taking your blood sugar level daily in order to know your correct dose of insulin. Now, besides people, the tea is also fantastic for animals. Everything from dogs to horses. One day we got a call from a customer who wanted to purchase the tea for the champion show dog who developed a skin disorder and for whom antibiotics had not worked. Exactly 3 weeks later, the customer called again to tell us the skin had completely cleared up and the dog was back at work as a model. I asked how they got the dog to drink the tea, and they said they simply replaced the water in his bowl with the tea. So it turns out that the dogs actually really like the tea. About 3 months later, another customer called and asked if we knew that dogs preferred our tea over water. We told him we'd heard that dogs like our tea, but why did he think the dogs preferred the tea over water? He said he had 3 dogs, one of which was sick. Since he had multiple dogs, he also had multiple water bowls, and he'd replaced the water in one of the bowls with tea, and that bowl was gone first every day. So since the dogs obviously were the only ones drinking out of the bowls, he knew that the dogs preferred the tea over water. So it's really easy to get a dog to drink the tea. All you do is swap out the water with the tea, and the dogs will immediately start drinking it. If by chance they don't, all you do is put 2-3 ice cubes in with the tea, and the dog will think it's dessert, and by tomorrow he'll be asking you for the tea. We have a lot of cases with dogs. One time, a very funny incident, a lady called in and said, she says, my friend has a Chihuahua, and she heard that your tea was good for dogs, and she started giving the tea to her Chihuahua, and her Chihuahua doesn't shed hair anymore. So since I have a Chihuahua, she gave the tea to me, and I'm giving it to my dog, and I'll be darned, my Chihuahua doesn't shed hair anymore. And I don't know anything about Chihuahuas. We have a Siberian Husky, so I said, did Chihuahuas really shed a lot? She says, oh yeah, they typically shed like crazy. So about an hour later, a customer from Dallas called in, and I'm talking to her on the phone, and I says, I learned something new about our own tea today, and I told her the Chihuahua story. And she says to me, you didn't know that? And I said, well, no, I don't know anything about Chihuahuas. She says, you never seen me, she says, because I'm in Dallas, she says, but I've been a customer of yours now for about 2 years, and before I started drinking your tea, I have long hair. Before I started drinking your tea, I used to lose a lot of hair when I was brushing my hair and when I was showering. Since I started drinking your tea, I hardly lose any hair at all, and not only that, my fingernails are strong like concrete. I'd like to shift gears again, if I can, and talk a little bit more about infections. A man went to visit a dentist for a tooth infection. The dentist gave him a prescription for penicillin to knock the bacteria out and a prescription for Vicodin to kill the pain. He sped over to the drugstore, picked up the prescriptions, and couldn't wait to get home to take the pills since his head was throbbing as if it was going to explode. On his way home, he called a friend from his car and was explaining to him what a world of hurt he was in. The friend told him to swing by his place and he'd get rid of the pain in exactly 2 minutes. He was told that not even the Vicodin would kick in that fast, and that he really wanted to get home to get rid of the pain as soon as possible and take the Vicodin and the penicillin. Well, the friend said, you've already picked up the pills from the pharmacy, so you've got them with you. If the Tahibo tea I'm going to give you doesn't work, then start popping the pills. He went over to his friend's house. His friends had him take a drink of the tea and told him to hold it in his mouth over the tooth that was infected for a couple of minutes before swallowing. The pain went away. He explained to his friend, though, that until enough bacteria was knocked out, which requires drinking 5 or 6 glasses of tea in the span of 3 or 4 hours, that the pain would come back in about 30 minutes. But since he's drinking a tea during this time anyway, to simply take a drink of the tea and hold it in his mouth again for 2 minutes before swallowing, and the pain will go away. Unbelievably, this is exactly what happened.
Want to learn more? Check out our podcast only on the iHeartRadio app. The Tahibo Tea Club radio show is now available on demand 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just open up your iHeartRadio app and search Tahibo, Tahibo. HEEBO, and start streaming today. Our podcast will let you listen to people throughout the country who have shared their real-life stories on the successful results they've had using Tahibo Tea. The Tahibo Tea Club radio show, now available as a podcast on the iHeartRadio app. You're listening to the Tahibo Tea Club radio show. All packaging is in 1 pound packages. A 1 pound package of the tea is $34.95, and 1 pound makes 308 ounce cups or glasses of tea. That's the equivalent of 12 cents a glass to make. So even if you're drinking 8 glasses a day, that's 96 cents a day to at least give yourself the opportunity for success. All orders ship immediately the same day. Orders in Los Angeles, where we're located, arrive in 1 day. Orders everywhere else arrive in 2 days. Tahibo tea is great for healthy people because it helps regenerate cells. Everything from the cells in our skin so we look better to the cells in our organs so they function properly. And it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease such as an infection, diabetes, or cancer. In Milan Vukovic's family, everyone drinks it every day like water, from his 20-year-old son to his parents, who are both now 86. For more information about Tahibo tea or to order, please visit our website, www.tahiboteaclub.com. Tahibo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy. Oh, that's Tahibo, and then continue with the word tea, and then the word club. So the complete site is www.tahiboteaclub.com, or call today at 818-610-8088. That's 818-610-8088. LA offices open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday, California time. That's area code 818-610-8088.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, since our tea comes from the only tree in the world the fungus doesn't grow on, it naturally has antifungal, anti-infection, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. And so included with every order, we automatically include literature about the tea because typically folks will primarily buy the tea for one primary reason, whether it's cancer or whether it's diabetes or whether it's an infection or whatever the case is. And then oftentimes they'll call back and say, this is really truly unbelievable. This also helped me with my rheumatoid arthritis or something of that nature or something different. One time I got a phone call from a man in Florida who's a customer of ours, and he says, Milan, there's something you didn't tell me about the tea. And I go, really? What's that? So, well, he says, I'm an older man. I have toenail fungus. My toenail fungus is completely gone. My toes are now the only beautiful thing in my body. And I go, well, of course, the tea naturally has antifungal properties. It comes from the only tree in the world that fungus doesn't grow on. And he says, well, that's fantastic. And I said, well, yeah, because, I mean, the only thing we talked about when you called in was with regards to your lung cancer. And as it happened, the man had lung cancer for 18 years. And he was receiving radiofrequency ablation for his lung cancer. And when he first drank, and after 18 years, he says, the ablation works. He says, you can smell your own flesh burning. He says, literally, he says, and after 18 years, there's nothing left on my lungs to burn out, he says. So he says, I don't really believe in things like your tea, he says, but it doesn't cost very much, so go ahead and send me the tea. So we did. And he called back about 3 weeks later, and he says, if somebody would have told me that a $35 bag of tea would get rid of my pain in 5 days, I'd have said you're crazy, because I was taking 10 narcotic pills daily to mitigate the pain, and I never really did. And after 5 days, my pain went away, and I was telling my friends that this is unbelievable. I'm drinking this tea, and the pain associated with my cancer is gone. And my friend said, oh, man, it's got to be in your head. He says, that's why I waited 3 weeks to give you a call back. It's not in my head. The pain's gone. If you'd like more information about Tahibo tea or you'd like to talk to us, just give us a call. We're located in Los Angeles. Our office hours are 9 to 5 California time, Monday through Saturday. Our telephone number is 818-610-8088. And, of course, you can also get a lot more information on our website, www.tahiboteaclub.com, and the only tricky thing is to spell Tahibo, which is spelled TAHEEBO, and then continue with the word TTEA, clubclub.com. So the complete website is www.tahibotclub.com, and you'll get more information there. And of course, we welcome you to give us a call because, as you can tell, we learned a lot about our own product from customers calling us in with regards to their dogs, with regards to toenail fungus, with regards to diabetes, and with regards to all type of different cancer cases. And once again, our telephone number is area code 818-610-8088.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with Milan and much more from the Tahibo Tea Club radio show in just a minute. But first, a word from our sponsors.
You're listening to the Tahibo Tea Club radio show. All packaging is in 1 pound packages. A 1 pound package of tea is $49.95, and that includes shipping.
And 1 pound makes 308 ounce cups or glasses of tea. That's the equivalent of 12 cents a glass to make. So even if you're drinking 8 glasses a day, that's 96 cents a day to at least give yourself the opportunity for success. All orders ship immediately the same day. Orders in Los Angeles, where we're located, arrive in 1 day. Orders everywhere else arrive in 2 days. Tahibo tea is great for healthy people because it helps regenerate cells. Everything from the cells in our skin so we look better to the cells in our organs so they function properly. And it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease such as an infection, diabetes, or cancer. In Milan Vukovic's family, everyone drinks it every day like water, from his 20-year-old son to his parents who are both now 86. For more information about Tahibo tea or to order, please visit our website, www.tahibotclub.com. Tahibo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy. Oh, that's Tahibo, and then continue with the word tea, and then the word club. So the complete site is www.tahibotclub.com, or call today at 818-610-8088. That's 818-610-8088. LA offices open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday, California time. That's area code 818-610-8088.
Tahibo Tea Club's original Pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea helps build red corpuscles in the blood which carry oxygen to our organs and cells. Our organs and cells need oxygen to regenerate themselves. The immune system needs oxygen to develop, and cancer dies in oxygen. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1 pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TahibotClub.com. Tahibo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TahibotClub.com, or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TahibotClub.com.
Welcome back to the Tahibo Tea Club radio show. Our tea is effective against all types of cancers because it works through the bloodstream. And of course, cancer cells need blood to get to them just as healthy cells do. The big difference being is that cancer cells work in an anaerobic environment or live in an anaerobic environment, which means they live in the absence of oxygen and they get their energy from sugar instead of from oxygen like healthy cells do. But specifically now, I'd like to devote our attention to prostate cancer because 80% of men are going to contract prostate cancer by the time they turn 80 years old. And from the cancer cases that we have, of course, because so many men get prostate cancer, we have more successful prostate cancer cases than any other cases just because they're the most prevalent. I'd like to tell you about a couple of those cases. I got a phone call a couple of weeks ago from a man in Phoenix, and he says to me, he says, I don't know if you remember speaking to me 4 months ago or not, he says, but I had prostate cancer that was aggressively metastasizing through my whole body, my bones, everywhere. And you told me to drink at least 8 glasses of Tahibo tea a day or more, as much as I could humanly stand. So I literally took that to heart, and I was drinking a gallon a day, which is 16 cups or more, he says. I was drinking so much of your tea that sometimes I was drinking a tea and having to go pee at the same time. But I'll tell you what, in 4 months, I don't have any more cancer. Now, in the informational literature that we automatically include with every order, it says, please give us a call to tell us about your case so that we can help more people. Well, one day I got a call from a man in Beaumont, Texas. And he says to me, he says, I've been a customer of yours, he says, for 5 years now, he says, and in your booklets it says to give you a call to tell you about your case, so I'm calling to give you an update. I go, fantastic, please tell me. He says, well, he says, 5 years ago I had prostate cancer and my PSA level was 1200. So now, I'm thinking, I don't understand this man's Southern Texas accent from Beaumont, Texas, so I say to him, you mean 120? Because we'd never had anybody previous to that had more than 550. He says, no, 1,200. My PSA level was so high, they didn't want to give me any treatment. And he says, they're going to give you treatment. He says, whether it's going to work or not, just to collect on the money. So I had no other choices, and I started drinking your tea. And not only am I still alive 5 years later, my PSA level is now 1.25. So last October, a man from Saskatchewan, Canada calls up, and he says to me he's got prostate cancer. So I'm telling him about the Beaumont prostate cancer case, the 1200 case, and he says, that's nothing. He says, my prostate PSA level is 2100. I said, oh my God, you have to promise to call me back. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and write down your name and number on a yellow sticky and stick it on my computer. If I don't hear back from you, I'm going to call you myself to find out what happened. Well, a month or so ago, we got an email from him, and he says, I started drinking your tea in October, and I'm getting my PSA checked every 2 months, and at the 2-month mark, my PSA level dropped from 2100 to 100. At the 4-month mark, my PSA level dropped from 100 to 10. And now, at the 6-month mark, my PSA level is 1.75. So it's truly gratifying to hear from customers on an ongoing basis, and very humbling because all we do is harvest the original tea. We don't put any fillers in it, and it's just as God had meant the plant to be. Now, the only secret to success with our tea, and the great thing is it tastes great, is volume of consumption. So you want to make certain that if you are fighting a potentially life-threatening disease, it's a race. You need to beat it before it beats you. So you want to be drinking the tea like water, or instead of water, 8 glasses a day or more, which is easy to do since it has a really mild, pleasant flavor. You can take it on an empty stomach, a full stomach, with medication, without medication, and it doesn't have any caffeine, so you can drink it all day, all night.
Tahibo Tea Club's original Pure Pau Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus does not grow on. As a result, it naturally has antifungal, anti-infection, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TahiboTeaClub.com. Tahibo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TahiboTeaClub.com, or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TahiboTeaClub.com.
Welcome back to the Tahibo Tea Club radio program. All of the cases on our radio program are actual cases from individuals such as my father, such as customers. And one of the reasons that we encourage you to phone us with your cases is it's the only way that we can help more people, because people with brain cancer want to hear about brain cancer. People with diabetes want to hear about diabetes. People with toenail fungus want to hear about toenail fungus. Today, we have visiting with us one of our customers, and all of the cases are personal to the people, and because they do involve medicine, we do not release the names of the people. Of course, my father is my father, so you're also welcome to meet him, and you know who he is. But otherwise, unless somebody tells us, please go ahead and broadcast our name, if we're talking about a case, we don't do that. So it's the same thing when you give us a call and you talk about your case, we won't be giving out your name. So we have a customer here that is visiting us today, and she came in a couple of weeks ago and bought the tea for a coworker of hers who